Looking good. Looking good. It looks like the chat isn't working for me. I'm going to reload real quick. Hope I don't lose the connection. Ah, there it is. For whatever reason, YouTube always likes to play tricks. Tricky YouTube, that's what I call them. Hey everyone, welcome to Gear Talk episode 70. 70 episodes of me rambling on about tech that involves rollerblading. If you love talking about the good old days, the new days of gears and skate technology, if you know the difference between 165 Trinity and UFS, if you know the difference between 72, 60, 110, then you've come to the right place. Gear Talk is where we talk every other week about the geekier side of rollerblading. We do this live on YouTube at 9 p.m. Eastern, and we would love to see you every other Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. We do a live stream, so there are usually a couple dozen people, almost 100 people sometimes, in the live stream chat. We would love to have questions. This is a great opportunity to ask questions of me or ask questions of people who are very knowledgeable about rollerblading and rollerblading gear. The live stream is busy right now, so if you have a question for me, make sure that you tag Back to Blading so that I can see it. There's usually a little yellow outline around it so that I can see the question coming through, and we will definitely stop a few times to take questions. Anything is fair game. Would rather stick to gear related stuff, but if you've got any questions for me, I'm an open book. Anything that I can tell you, I will. And if you are joining us later and you're not able to join the live stream, always answer all of your questions in the comments. Please feel free to leave a comment in the YouTube video. I'd be more than happy to answer your question. If you want to send me an email, that's usually the best way. Social media is kind of hit or miss. If you send me a message on Instagram, I might get it, I might not. But if you send me an email or if you use the contact form on the Back to Blading website, that is the best way to get a hold of me. Leaving a comment on the Gear Talk episode is always a good way. I'm usually really good about getting comments, and even if I don't respond to everything, I do read everything, so watch what you say. Before we get started, always like to thank the Helmet Initiative for helping us give away helmets. I am a huge proponent of wearing your helmet when you skate. You know, we talk about a lot of gear, we talk about wheels, we talk about bearings, we talk about skates and sole plates and axles and things like that. Most important thing, regardless of what you put on your feet, is what you put on your head. You should always wear a helmet when you skate. It's silly not to. If you fall down and you break your arm, it's no big deal, you know? You break your arm, it sucks. Last month, I fell and shinned a rail and I split open my shin and I had to get 8 stitches. It sucks. And it sucked for a good 2 weeks. But I was okay. And I'm okay now. If you fall and you hit your head and you need stitches or something like that, that's a pretty big deal. So let's try to avoid that. Wear a helmet when you can. If you can't afford a helmet right now, understand that times are weird. If you can't swing the $50 to $60 for a good helmet, we would love to help you. Thanks to the Helmet Initiative, they've been sending us some helmets to give away. Backtoblading.com/helmet is the place to sign up and register to get a helmet. I'm going to be giving away 2 helmets tonight. Totally at random. I don't need a sob story. I don't need somebody to tell me that they had a helmet and they lost a helmet or their dog ate their helmet or something like that. Just let me know that you need a helmet. If you plan on wearing a helmet, I would love to send you a helmet. I'm going to be picking 2 people at random. I'm actually going to paste the link into the chat. If anybody is following along in the chat, we're going to leave this link up for the rest of the night. So please, if you need a helmet, this is a good opportunity to get one. Please just fill out the form. If you have the means and you can afford a helmet, don't do that. Just go out and buy a helmet. It's really important. I know that wheels are expensive and they're not as cool as helmets. Helmets are not as cool as wheels, but it is important that you wear a helmet. So we want you to stick around. Thanks again to the Helmet Initiative, and thank you to the Patreon for supporting us and getting us the funds so that we can send those out. Shipping is expensive. Like I start every week, I know there's other things to talk about, but I do want to talk about the current skates that I'm on. I've been very happy skating the USD Montre Sways. Where are they? Here they are. completely remodeled the wall. So I've got another row up here now, and I've got a row way down here that you might not be able to see. And I've got a wall of skates over here on the right. It is a ever evolving studio. So I can't find everything, but I was able to find these. So these are the new Montre Sways. They came out, a couple months ago, I think. And they're amazing. I'm absolutely loving these skates. So they are based on the USD Sway, very classic USD skate from the last few years. I guess classic is a weird term, but it's kind of their bottom line plastic shell boot now. It kind of replaced the USD Throne, I guess, in the lineup. I'd say that it replaced the Throne. Would you agree? I think I'd agree. Big change here. It's got a big sole plate, nice wide sole. It's got a really nice Royale groove. Actually has a fairly good negative too, so you can do your negative tricks. This specific model comes with a 45-degree strap. This is the Montre Pro model, so it comes with a 45-degree strap with the Montre on the strap. It has a really nice buckle, cuff, hard shell. Every piece is good. I am having some weird flex issues. So the forward flex on this skate is no joke. If you lean forward, like if you're trying to get really low for a big jump or something like that, this cuff can definitely flex forward to a point that it shows the little flippers in the back. That is not great. I feel like it offers me enough support, especially with a 45-degree strap, but I do feel like my foot is just kind of flopping around a lot in there. I've heard a lot of people say that they've experienced that forward flex issue as well, so it's not just me. But otherwise, I really like these skates. I was able to crank them down really good, use that 45-degree strap, and it really sucks my foot in. It is a raised heel boot, so it doesn't have an internal shock absorber. All of the heel lift is coming from the sole plate. And that's not a bad thing, but it's not an ideal thing. I prefer a flat sole with an internal shock absorber. That gives you a little forward lean, and it uses that room back there, instead of just putting plastic back there, uses it for a little bit of shock, a little bit of squishy material, and that feels much better when you're landing gaps or you're coming off a grind or something like that. This week, I started skating the Rosie's RL1 liners. So these are the new liners from Rosie's. These are the RL1. They came out maybe a few months ago, and they are kind of like Rosie's answers to Intuition. So Intuition, if you don't know, is a ski liner that started making inline skate liners about 3-4 years ago, I guess. They are a thin, high-density foam, so it's very responsive and very snug fit. You can really tie this up tight and get a really good feel around your foot, as opposed to the stock liners, which are these MyFits, which are a great liner. I actually really liked these liners, but they're very padded, very puffy. These are very tall as well. So you can see the cuff goes really high, heel to heel, and really high in the back as well. But I'm really liking these Rosie's. So the big difference between these and the Intuition, there's a lot of subtle differences. The foam that they use is different, I'm sure, but the Rosie's foam is fairly high quality, and I've always liked Rosie's liners. They've always kind of been known for their liners, so I'm feeling really good about the comfort and overall comfort thing. The huge difference for me is this Rosie's liner has the neoprene toe. So when you put your foot in there, you can wiggle your toe, and you can see my fingers moving around a little bit. With the Intuition, it doesn't have the neoprene toe. It's a firm fit up front. Now, a lot of people love that. A lot of people think it should be a firm fit. I don't need to worry about double sizing. I'm going to get the Intuition liners that fit perfectly for my feet. And that's okay. I think a lot of people can find the Intuition liners that fit perfectly for their feet. I had a difficult time with that. The Danny Beer liners that I was able to test out, they fit my feet really well. And I think that would be the liner that I would go with. But I have a hard time justifying a $200 liner. These, same deal. I think these are $170 retail. I actually paid a little bit less. I got them used. They were used once and they just weren't a good fit, so I bought them off of a friend. And I'm very fortunate to have them. I probably wouldn't pay $170 if I were just getting out there and getting a liner. I don't know. I don't know that I can review liners super well. I'm not a big liner guy. But for me, these feel really good. I wanted to compare them to the Rane V3. I had a couple questions about that on my post. So here are the Rane V3s in the Them 909s. Now, I don't know, does Razors or does Rane still make these? I don't know that they still make these. They make the V3 HT. I don't know that they still make the Rane V3 though. Regarding the height, so heel to heel, this is the comparison. They're almost identical. Maybe a little bit lower with this Rosie's, a little bit taller with the Rane. But they look really similar. The toe is very different. You can see this toe is kind of like a, I don't know, like a snake's face, I guess. Whereas this one is this big toe. So otherwise, very similar liners. This one is $80 if you can find them. This one is $170. Different foams. Obviously, the Rosie's liner uses a higher quality foam. It's more expensive. There is different material used here, but I really like these liners. And at $80 or whatever it was, that's a steal. I still highly recommend the Rane V3 if you can find them. If you want to get a higher end liner, you can't go wrong with the Rosie's RL1. I think it's a really solid contender. I do want to skate them a little bit longer and see if I can really tell the difference between liners. I'm not the sort of guy that thinks about liners very much, but I might just have very easy feet. Until I skated those Intuitions that were too small for me, it never even crossed my mind. But definitely enjoyed the ride that I had in these RL1s over the MyFit Montre liners. And I definitely enjoyed these Rane V3s over the Intuitions that I was skating back in the days, or the Them stock liners that I skated in the 909s and the 908s. So that's a little liner talk for you. I'm definitely not the most qualified guy to talk about liners because I don't have a ton of experience with liners, but I am learning. If you have questions about liners, I would love to do more segments about it. I just don't know a lot about it. So if you ask questions, I will do the research. I love to get these answers so that I can share them with you. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat. Let me know by email, whatever, if you've got questions about liners. I have a lot of liners to share, so I'll probably do some comparison videos that show all the different liners. But for now, definitely think the RL1 is a worthy investment if you're into that high-end liner sort of thing. People swear by their Intuitions. I get it, but they're just not for me. All right, let's see. Let me get a little bit of water. All right, let's talk about frames. So, a lot to cover tonight, so I want to make sure that we give ourselves a lot of time. I was skating other skates last week. So I was skating these USD Carbons. And if you saw me on the live stream, you saw that I was skating a new setup. I was skating the new Fitty Fitty frames. But before we start talking about those, let me tell you a little story about the core system. So we started 50/50, the UFS frame program, back in 2001. And this was when Salomon came out and they said, hey, we want to do UFS. And we were like, cool. We already make frames. You know, we made the non-UFS frames, the ones on these, where are these? These ones. We already made frames. These were the non-UFS frames that we were making for Thrones, we were making for Majestic 12s, we were making for whatever skates were available back there, the Rollerblade Dirks. Why would we make a frame that doesn't work like this? And Salomon had a really good point that it would be great if we standardized. So we said, cool, we'll do a UFS frame. So we came out with a UFS frame, our first UFS frame, based off of that design. Flat frame, very clean look. It had 6mm axles. It had a very small split and a very small groove, so it was designed for skating flat 56mm wheels. Or if you want to skate anti-rocker with grind plates. I mean, this was way back. This was 2001. So fast forward a few years and we came out with the balance frames. And these are the frames that I brought back. So when I got back into rollerblading in 2007, 2006, I said, hey, you know what's missing is the Fitty Fitty balance frame. They weren't making them anymore. I said, I want to make them again. I feel like there's a need in the market for a really low profile frame, and I love this frame. So the balance frame brought a lot of the things that I learned back in the days, a lot of the things that Jess was asking for back in the days from the UFS frame, and made them better. So over the original UFS frame, we added 8mm axles because we kept getting axles that were breaking. We made the groove a little bit deeper, so this is a bigger chamfer, or fillet, I guess you'd say. Or chamfer, yeah, it's a chamfer. This groove was a little bit deeper. We added the juice bumps, so these are the sidewalls. They're called the juice bumps. That helps with topside tricks, that helps with sole tricks to keep you from rubbing on the axles, things like that. And I really love these frames. These frames aren't going anywhere. To be perfectly clear, I love the balance frame. I think there is definitely a need for the balance frame in the market, especially coming with juice blocks. You can get this frame for $60. You can get this frame complete with wheels for $100. So you get those Montres for $170 boot only, and then you get this and you're out the door for less than $300 for a really nice setup. That's a steal. So we'll definitely continue to make the balance frame. However, since we brought this back, I kept getting questions about what else are you guys going to do? Are you just going to bring back the old products, or are you going to do anything new? And more than anything, people were asking for the core frames. I'll put this over here. So this was the core frame. This is a balance core frame. So it was named after the balance frame. And you can see the resemblance, right? So it's got a similar juice bump look to it on the edges. It's got the logos above the juice bumps, so it's a very symmetrical, balanced look to it. It has a much deeper groove than the balance frame, but for all intents purposes, if you didn't know the differences and you looked at these two frames, you would have a hard time at a glance saying, oh, this is a balance frame and this is a core system balance frame. People wanted this frame back, and I said, you know what? I never skated this frame. We designed this frame in 2005. The core system came out in 2003. This frame was designed in 2005, and that was when I started moving away from rollerblading. I had some family things going on, had to take care of the family, so I was still supporting, I was still designing, I was still doing videos and stuff like that, but I had to take a little step away. So I never had a chance to skate these frames. I never understood what people were asking about. So fast forward, when was it? 2018, I think? 2017, maybe? I got myself a pair of these frames. And I said, you know what? These are really cool. There's a lot that we could learn from these frames that I could see people liking. And I started looking into making these frames again. Unfortunately, this frame, in order to bring it into a modern design, was going to cost a ton of money to modify. I didn't want to do that. I said, you know, with the amount of money that we invest in making this frame more modern and the high minimums that they were charging in order to do this design, I said, why don't we just throw out this frame and start fresh? So that's what we decided to do. Rather than bringing back the old core system with the balance frames, we said, you know what, let's use all of the knowledge that I've acquired over the last few years and see what a perfect frame for me, and hopefully for other people, would be like. So we started just making lists and saying, what would we like? What's the biggest wheels that it should fit? What sort of split should it have? Should it be designed for anti-rocker? Should it be designed for flat? Around 2018, in summer of 2018, I was accepted to the SolidWorks entrepreneur program, I think. And SolidWorks is a 3D design program that people use for designing frames and designing parts and things like that. And I got a free year of SolidWorks training and design tools so that I could start building things. And that's when I started working on the new core system and the new core frames. So that was 2018, and here it is 2021, and the frames are in production. So, you know, super stoked to share that we will have a new frame coming in a couple of weeks, maybe a couple months, depends on how quickly things get here. And I want to walk you through the frames and tell you everything about them, show you all of the design decisions that I made, and let you see what I've been working on for the last 3 years. It's pretty crazy. It's been a long way. You know, I skate a ton of different frames. I am very active in the community, and I try to absorb all of the information that I get. Anytime somebody asks me something, I write it down or I remember it somehow. And I've taken all of that feedback and tried to put it into a single product. And I think I've done a pretty good job. I'm open to hearing what you think, and I can't wait to share it with you. So first of all, let me show you what's best. I'll show you this one. So this is the new 5050 Prime frame, built on the Core System version 2. So these were the first samples out of the production mold that we got 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. They are a size medium. This is a 250 millimeter base from 1 to 4. There is also the large, which is 270 millimeters, 1 to 4, which is the one that I'm skating now. This frame is optimized for anti-rocker, but it accommodates flat really nicely. So let me show you the anti-rocker. Anti-rocker is base 65 millimeters if you want. If you've got the sole plates to accommodate it, you can get up to a 72 millimeter wheel in here. So if you are used to skating like a Wish frame style, you can skate anti-rocker 72s. The wheel will go up into the sole plate, so you're going to have to make a modification if you're not riding the right sole plates, but 72 millimeters max. The split is 120 millimeters. So from 2 to 3 is 120 millimeters. That is a pretty big split. The catch is we didn't make the groove 120 millimeters. The groove is much less. So I think the groove is actually 90 millimeters. Do I have my calipers here? I do. Oh, where did I put them? Oh, I lost my calipers. Ugh, I don't know where they are. I think the groove is like 90 millimeters. So it cuts short. And the reason for that is we wanted to make sure that we could accommodate flat setups. So this is the flat setup. This is a flat 60 millimeter wheels. This is again the medium frame, 250 millimeters 1 to 4, 120 millimeters from 2 to 3, and you can see that nice H-block area. So it does not have the sunken, dropped wheel bite protection that you might find on other frames. The reason for that is this is an anti-rocker frame. Now there's a lot of frames coming out over the last year or so that are optimized for flat. I skate anti-rocker, and I did a quick poll of the team, and 90% of us skate anti-rocker. So we wanted to make sure that we made a frame that was really good for anti-rocker. This is a crazy anti-rocker frame. The groove is nice. It fits anti-rocker wheels real nicely, but if you want to skate flat, you can skate 4x60. Now, why is it 4x60, not 4x65? Well, the reason is we wanted to make sure that this optimized the 60 millimeter flat experience. So you don't get very much wheel bite at all skating flat 60. The way we were able to do this is by dropping it 2 millimeters underneath the top of the frame. So the max wheel is still 65, but because we dropped it down a little bit, we can push a little closer to the frame bolt, so we don't have to worry about the frame bolt. Again, this is the medium frame. The gap between the first and the second wheel or the third or fourth wheel is very tight. I'll show you the large frame real quick. So this is the large frame. This is the frame that I'm skating. This is 270 And this is a flat setup. This is 4x60s as well. And if you saw my live stream, absolutely no issues with any wheel bite or anything. I think if you were skating flat with these frames, a better ride might be 58s with the profile that we have, the I don't know what we call it, the flat rocket. I was talking with the guys over at Conjure today, so I have rocket profile in mind, but it's kind of like more of a face profile. So this is a fairly square wheel, but if you were riding flat on like 59 or 58s, you'd probably have a much better experience skating flat. Anyway, that's the large. Talk a little bit about the axles. So we wanted to make sure that this frame was modern. There have been plenty of different axle designs in the past. Probably the few that stand out to me are the K2 axles, the ones that have the hexagon inside that you slide into the frame spacer. The ones like the Rossi's axles that are the little square or the rectangle. The Randy Spicer axles that are the star that slides in. These are the core axles. So I actually have one of these axles. This is how big it is. It uses the standard M6 bolt. So in case you ever lose a bolt, in case you ever need a frame bolt, it uses the same M6 bolt that we're used to. But the head, the long head, is 10 millimeters by 14 millimeters with a 4 millimeter radius. That means that it's going to slide nicely into the frame, and you're only going to need one tool to tighten or loosen your wheels. They're also countersunk. So we made sure that these were countersunk 1.5 millimeters, I think, if you look at it. It's all plastic. So you're going to love this grind. It slides like butter. It is a tapered edge, so it gets thicker towards the bottom to allow for that countersink, and thinner at the top. Really, really fun. Talk a little bit about the weight. So one of the biggest concerns with the core frames back in the days was, oh, they're so heavy. Well, this is a balance frame. This is 318 grams with the axles in them. So axles, frame spacers, 318 grams. This prime frame with the axles in them and the frame spacers is 365 grams. That is a difference of around 50 grams. That is the difference of one wheel, 58 millimeter wheel with no bearings and no bearing spacers. So yeah, it's a little bit heavier, but it's not that much heavier. It's this much heavier. This is not much. You gotta remember, there's an aluminum core inside. So you've got the strength and rigidity of an aluminum frame, but you've got the grind of glass-filled nylon. So it's gonna be a little heavier, but only 158 millimeter wheel heavier, not bad. Talk a little bit about the core. So we did redesign the core system from the ground up. If you look at the old core, this is what they used to look like. So this was a single sheet of aluminum that was pressed and bent. So if you imagine this completely flat, and these wings come up like a butterfly, right? So take all three of these angles and it's completely flat. What they do is they put this sheet down and they use a die machine. So it's just like a cutter that just goes in and goes poop, poop, and cuts it out like you're making cookies, like you're baking cookies. And then it puts it into another machine that bends the cores. Now, obviously that's an expensive tool, which is why we couldn't just make a quick change to this. We had to make another one of those, which was thousands of dollars. And it introduces points of strength reduction, I guess you could say. Little areas that this aluminum has already been bent, so it's not as strong as a single piece of aluminum. So the new core is an extrusion. This is a 6160 aluminum extrusion. I have this one. So 6160 aluminum. So this is a single piece of aluminum that gets extruded, kind of like how they make pasta. And you know, you make like penne pasta, where it's got like a tube, comes out and then they cut. So this comes out of a tube, and then it cuts, and then they go through and they machine it. We made sure that this was as strong as possible. So we've added arches inside. We've added more support up here. There's 3 millimeters of height so that it can fit these 65 millimeter wheels. 3 millimeters of height, which is going to make it even stronger. And we are proud to announce that we're going to have a lifetime warranty on the cores. So if you buy these frames, for whatever reason, if you break the core, you get a new core absolutely free. We will take care of you. We don't want anybody out there thinking that, oh, these cores are going to break like the old ones. To be honest, the cores didn't break that often with the old ones. There was a run that we had that was really bad, and that was the first run, so it got a really bad rap. They didn't break that often, but these cores, swear to God, are almost indestructible. Now, don't go out there, skate them without the walls and, you know, stub your toe or something like that because you want free cores. I'll figure it out, and I won't put up with that. But I'll definitely take care of you if you break a core. Under any normal circumstances, these things are built to last. They're going to last forever. We want you to get the frames and feel like you're getting a good investment, that these are going to last for a long time. One final thing about the cores. So a lot of people have complained that the balance frames can only use a very specific size of a of a frame bolt. These are completely flat. So use whatever frame bolts you want. We're listening. We know that frame bolts are an issue. We will still provide frame bolts, but you can use whatever frame bolts you want. They will fit in the new Prime frames. What else? I got notes so I make sure that I don't screw things up. So this is a core system. So this is an interchangeable system. Each of these walls is replaceable. So using the single tool, show you how it works. Take off one of the wheels. Now I will warn you that this being a first sample, there are some tolerance issues. So some things are a little tighter than they should be. We have asked them to make some modifications so that it's a little easier to get stuff out, like trying to get these axles out. You saw how tight that was. That's not the way it should be. So you take out the outside axles, and now you've got just the core. You can pop the core off. These frame spacers are also, like I was saying about the being production samples, these frame spacers are stuck in there. So it's harder to get the walls out than it should be. I don't know why they did that. Get out of there. There we go. All right. So if you take the wall out, all you do is you keep the core on your boot like this. You take the wall off. And then this is still on your boot. And you got these frames. So these are replacement walls. This is what a wall looks like. This is a large wall, so it won't fit on. These are the Prime walls. So they are glass-filled nylon. They are optimized for anti-rocker. They have a huge H-block with a little bit of recess for the wheels, you can kind of see. They have a 10 millimeter thick H-block, which is fairly standard if you look at other frames on the market. The H-block is a really difficult place to get thickness for injection molding. We worked really hard on making sure that there was enough material in there for these to last as long as they could. 10 millimeters is going to last a pretty long time unless you're out there like Gislin destroying things. But they will last a very long time. If you need to replace these walls, we will have replacement walls in different colors for $50. So all you have to do once you get the system, you just get a replacement wall, $50, and you are back in business. Different colors, different designs, all sorts of things. These are glass-filled nylon. We'll experiment with different colors and different materials. We'll have signature models, all that sort of thing. This is our first of hopefully many walls that we'll be introducing. And you can see up top, this is a 270. I don't know if you can read that, but 270 model. So this is the large. They also come in the medium. That is the wall. And this is a good view of the core. Again, it's a very solid aluminum. The nice thing about this core is that because only the 1 and 4 wheels are fixed at 270 or 250, the inside has room to play. So we can come out with walls of a variety of different designs with a bigger split for any rocker, a freestyle frame, a high-low frame, you name it. Whatever we can come up with, we will figure out a way to make a wall so that it will fit on this system. All right, the mediums, losing space over here. I've got so much stuff. All right, I did mention that the walls are 50 bucks. So how much would you pay for these frames? So this is the prime frame with the core system 2, comes with the axles, comes with the frame bolts, comes with a set of walls and the set of cores. We're going to have these in stores for $120 US. Now you find a lot of other frames out there that might be 150 bucks, might be 200 bucks, might be even more bucks. This is $120. The frames will last forever. The cores have a lifetime warranty. You can always get a replacement wall. Replacement walls are 50 bucks. At launch, we will be having a special deal where you can get the prime frame with a replacement wall for 160 bucks, I think. So we'll save 10 bucks. You can get we'll have black and white. So you can get a white wall and you can get a black wall at launch. The cores will be silver at launch. These are the first samples. We will do different colored cores in the future. You can spray paint them whatever color you want, but they will be silver to start. We will come out with signature models in the future. All right, a lot to take in. So these frames are pretty killer. I'm very, very happy with them. It's been a long, long road to get to where we are right now. I know a lot of you out there have been fans of the freestyle frame. So back in the days, we made a freestyle frame. This is the freestyle core system frame. We've looked into bringing these back, and I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but it's really difficult to make these again. However, we are going to be offering a solution. So when we were testing these cores to make sure that we could get the walls right, we used a process called 3D printing. So 3D printing is fairly new, but it's a nice way that you can do rapid prototyping of solid objects. So anything that I come up with on SolidWorks or in Fusion 360, you can hook up a 3D printer and you can print it out and have an object in your hands. And that was super handy to figure out if the tolerances were right, if the groove angle was right, if the split was right, things like that. The freestyle frame is a really good candidate for that because all that you're doing is grinding. We are going to be introducing a freestyle frame for the Core System 2 that will be available at launch, that will be 3D printed. So it will fit on the cores just like any other core wall would. Oh, get on there. There we go. It is a similar design to the prime frame. It's got a very similar chamfer, some very similar angles, but it is 3D printed. That means that we can offer them at a small run, so we don't have to invest a huge amount of money. I know there's a lot of people out there who are super passionate about skating freestyle, and I hear you. It's hard to bring in a full run of freestyle frames, but this will be a very compelling product. We'll be printing them in-house. So as you need a 3D printed frame, we will print a 3D printed frame. There will be a variety of colors available. They will come in black and white, but will also come in pretty much any color that you can think of. We will find the filaments so that we can print them out for you. The 3D printed frames will cost $50. So they will work with your Core System 2 core. All you'll need to do is get the Freestyle frames. They will be printed and they will be shipped in the US, wherever you are. We might even, depending on how well this works, we might even look at getting some printers outside of the US and Europe and in the UK so we can print and deliver locally. I think Freestyle is an awesome idea, especially as people's knees get older, especially as people don't have the time to invest to get the angles perfect for all of their Royale tricks and things like that. This is a really killer frame. Justin Thursday helped me design this frame, and I'm excited to skate it. I am going to print one of these out in a fun color, and I'm going to go out there and skate them. I actually have it printing right now. So I will be printing these out and go out and skate with them. But remember, if you want to try one of these, all you have to do is you get the system, and then you can just get a wall and throw it on the cores, and you're good to go. Get off. It is easier when the tolerances aren't so tight. Longevity of 3D printing. So 3D printing, what's the difference between 3D printed and glass-filled nylon? Well, the main difference is the longevity. 3D printed parts will wear faster. They're also much faster grinds. So if you're looking for speed, they're a more glassy feel than a glass-filled nylon. They're going to wear down a little bit faster, but they're also much easier for us to make without the high minimums. If in the future we see that there is a need for a freestyle frame, there's a demand for a freestyle frame, we will be looking to make a mold for this. But this is a really good time to make freestyle frames available for people who want them. Get your feedback if you like them. If you don't like them, tell us why so that we can refine the design and then we can make them eventually. Speaking of 3D printing, so I also have these prime frames that we're going to be 3D printing. So if you want to try out a 3D printed frame, you don't want to go freestyle, but you want to get a prime frame that's in a fun color, these are 3D printed prime frames. So these are a large, they are white. They are very similar to the other frames that I have. Where are they? These large frames. We will have them in white and black as glass-filled nylon to start, but we'll also be 3D printing in a variety of colors. So if you want a prime frame in a fun color, we'll be doing every color in the rainbow. Same deal, we'll be able to do those locally. This is kind of a trial run to see if we can do 3D printing at scale, but for $50 a pair, I think we can swing it. We won't be providing those to shops. They'll be sold directly from us, so you'll need to place your order directly from us. But we'll be able to offer a variety of colors, and we'll be able to have these frames and these walls available whenever you need them. We won't have to get a huge amount of inventory that allows us to get a ton of different colors at launch. All right, it's been a lot. There is one more thing. So the Core System was always designed as a system. You know, when we first designed this, we said it would be awesome if instead of just using UFS, there was a better system for people to make frames. We love the idea that instead of using the UFS bolts, you can just get this as small as you want. You know, this is, I think it's a 2mm thick aluminum. Frame bolts go in there. It is as small as you can get to still have a UFS frame. And because the frame walls mount through the axles, you can play with anything else under here. Different splits, different contours, different grooves, different wheel heights, things like that. We are very, very happy to announce that we are going to be open sourcing the design for the Core System. So what that means, if you're not a developer, we're going to make this free for people to use. So you're going to still have to buy the aluminum, but if you want to design a frame, 3D print your own frame that fits on the Core System, you can do it. So we will have a package of objects that you can download from our website that will have all of the information that you need in order to make your own core compatible frame. Along with that, you will get the core as a 3D printed part. So this is actually a 3D print. You didn't know that, did you? This is a 3D print, so you can make your own core for sizing and for fitting tests. You will get 3D printed axles, so you can have the object for the axle, so you can make sure that your frames fit the axles perfectly. You will get frame spacers. You will get wheel objects so that you can put wheels in to see what the different configurations of the wheels are. And most important, you're going to get a frame that you can do whatever you want with. You could just print it as it is. You can add a huge groove. You can mess with the different dimensions. You can do different contours, things like that. This is the frame that we will be open sourcing. So this is a flat 65 frame that is designed for the Core System 2. You can go home today to your 3D printer. You can download the Core Developer Kit. You can open up this object, you can throw it into your 3D printer, and you can print this frame and then slide it on. Is this a medium? Yeah, it's the right size. You can slide it on a core. Pop, pop. And you'll be able to skate this frame. That frame is flat 65. So this is what it looks like. Let me put it on my skates. Is this a large? It is a large. Let me put it on my skate real quick. So regardless of your ability to design, we've given all of the files that we used to design this 65 flat frame, and we've put them in the package. So you could just print out that 65 flat frame and just go out there and have a great time skating. You could use that and modify it and move the wheels around and create a groove and add extra wheels and make it optimized for anti-rocker. You could remove the middle wheels and make it freestyle. You can add some arches if you want to make it more like a classic frame. There's so much potential. All that you need to do is get yourself a core system, get the developer kit, and you're good to go. So this is how easy it is to take the frames off. These are the flat 65 walls. Where'd they go? Here it is. So this is that open source frame wall that I was showing you. Slide it on, pop it in, put 65 mil wheels on the outside, single side axles, slide it in. Line this up a little bit, get in there. Again, these tolerances are a little tight. Get in there. Come on. Well, you know what I mean. I can't get this one in, but you know what this one is. So you can go out and skate flat 65. Now, I'll say that flat 65 is a pretty awesome ride. And this is free, absolutely free. So you can go home, you can print this, you can modify it, you can print it in whatever color you want, whatever filament you want. Good to go. If you want to sell your frames and use the core system, you are absolutely obligated or allowed to do it. There's no obligation for us. Make sure that we can see it so that we can help you promote it. But if you have a great idea for a frame, we would love nothing more than for you to use the core system to share your ideas, to pursue your ideas, to come up with different frame concepts and share them with the world. Sell them, whatever you want to do with them, give them away, whatever. We actually gave Justin Thursday access to the Core Developer Kit a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And this is a frame that he came up with. So this is a Justin Thursday frame for the Core System 2. This is compatible with the Core System 2. It has a replaceable H-block that could be made in a different material if you want. It has sliders on the side that again could be made with a different material if you want. You can make these out of aluminum, alumide, UHMW, whatever you want. This frame is compatible with the Core System 2. So all you would need to do is get this frame. You already have the Core System. Pop off your old walls, put on the new walls, and you got a brand new ride. If you want us to sell them, so this is where it's going to get a little interesting. We would be more than happy to open up our marketplace to third-party frame walls. So if people are interested in getting into the Core System and they want some different options, they will always be able to get the 50/50 ones. The Prime frames will be available, the Freestyle frames will be available. But what if you want to buy the Justin Thursday one? What if you want to buy the Ben Vanderhagen one? You're going to have to either hunt them down or find, a Etsy store or something like that and purchase the frames. We will do it all for you. So if you are a developer and you're interested in making frames and you want to put them on our marketplace, we would be more than happy to do that. So we will be reviewing all of the frames to make sure that they fit, make sure that they are the high quality, obviously, so long as they're not ripping somebody off, right? We're not going to be like Apple or anything like that, but we want to be able to provide customers with a really good experience. So long as your frames fit, send them to us. We'll have a quick form that you can put in all your information, some screenshots of what your frames look like, what they're optimized for, what the wheelbase is, what the wheels that you can use are, things like that. We will take a cut, but we will also print them for you and we will market them for you. So still trying to figure out all those numbers. We're not trying to make money off of this. We're trying to cover our costs. We want to make sure that most of the money goes to the designers. So we'll cover our costs for printing and for electricity and things like that and our labor and stuff. But for the most part, we want to reignite the industry from a designer perspective. There is so much passionate design going on in the industry, and there needs to be a way to get that out there. And I feel like having the Core System 2 available and having a marketplace where people can look at all of these different frame options and try them, that's going to be amazing. So again, more information to come on that. We will have the Core Developer Kit available in a couple of weeks. We're still trying to put the finishing touches on it. Some of the tolerances are a little weird, and again, with the tolerances being adjusted on these before we go into production, we want to make sure that we got the tolerances for the developer kit nailed down so that there's no question when the frames come in, your frame walls will fit. Same with the marketplace. We're assuming that these frames will be available in May. We don't know when, but as soon as they're out of production, we will announce pre-orders and we will have a much firmer ship date. Then we will start opening up the marketplace for submissions so that people can send us their frame ideas, frame models. We will print them out. We will make sure that they fit properly. We'll figure out pricing and all that stuff later. So I will have a feedback form up probably by the weekend so that people can send me their information and then I'll contact them when I'm done getting all of this ready. If you are a developer and you're interested in making frames, please get in contact. We would love to work with you and make sure that we can get your frame concept out to people. If you're not a developer and you have great ideas for frame walls, it's not that hard. You can figure it out. We'll give you all the tools that you need. Fusion 360 is absolutely free to use for educational purposes, which that's what you are. So you can download the program, you can sketch out your ideas, you can use our sample files, make modifications, and print out your own frames. Lot of information. I want to thank everybody for joining me for this whole announcement. It was 3 years in the making, and I've been dreaming about this for a long time. I've been a huge fan of giving back to the community, especially empowering people who are passionate about skating. There are so many really smart people out there, much smarter than I am, that might not have the audience or might not have the distribution that I have. And I want to help that. So thank you all so much for joining me with this. Thank you for the support. Thank you for your patience with the course system. I hope that you see that we weren't just sitting around. We were working really hard to build this new system that I think is going to be a huge next step in the evolution of aggressive rollerblading, maybe even urban rollerblading. I don't know, flat 65, that can be a lot of fun. You can fit 72s on the outside, I'm just saying. Anyway, thank you all so much. I'm gonna get some water and then answer any questions that you might have. I'll stick around for a while. If you got questions, please just throw them in the live stream. Make sure that you tag Back to Blading so that I can see them. And yeah, it's been a crazy ride. I can't wait to get them out to shops and out to y'all so that you can skate them. All right. Let's see if there are any questions. I'll go back a little bit. There's a lot of talking, but not a lot of questions in the beginning. I don't know how far back to go. I'll go all the way back, I guess. Mr. Darren 25 asks, have you considered making 55, 56 millimeter wheels for skating flat on the balance frames? Absolutely. We've looked into making 56s. We don't have anything to announce yet, but we are looking into it. I think a 56 is a really great ride for a flat setup on a balance frame. They were designed for 56 millimeter wheels back in the days. So yeah, that's probably the optimal size. We are looking into it. Right now, the 58s are really good. They're super fast, but I can understand that they might not provide the best grinding experience for skating flat. So stay tuned. A lot of questions that I think that I addressed already, so I'm not going to go through. Yeah, a lot of these questions I happen to talk about, so I will jump to the end. All right, Anuj, think I heard you mention Conjure earlier. Is there a collab in the works? Also, what is the height of the core frame? Good questions. I am really good friends with Rob Harrington. Rob and I drove to Woodward together 2 years ago or whatever. I've been a huge fan of Conjure since the beginning. Well, maybe not since the beginning, but since they started making wheels, when they were still making wax, you know, the deodorant wax and stuff like that. Rob and I are just good friends, so we were just chatting, and yeah, he's just a good dude. No collabs to announce yet, but would definitely you know, work with anything that they're into. I think they have really good taste, so I don't see why that would be a problem. Height of the core frame, that's a great question. So height of the core frame, it fits a 65 millimeter wheel flat. What that means is, what's a good way to show this? Do I have one that's, oh, these are flat 65. I can show you this one. So it fits 65 millimeter flat. What that means is that the height from the middle of the axle to the top of the frame is 36, I think. 30, no, I can't do math. 33, that's right, 33. So we gave a 1/2 mil clearance above so that the wheels wouldn't stick. You can see they don't stick on these USD carbons, and the carbons are a fairly flat setup up here. Fairly flat sole plate, I was supposed to say. As far as the height of the groove, so that is a good question that I should have addressed that I didn't. We made sure that since this frame is about 3 millimeters taller than the balance frame, we made sure that the groove of the balance frame, the distance between the top of the frame and the groove here is the same as the difference between the top of the frame and the groove here. So what that means is if you are already skating balance frames and you're used to doing boot down Royales with balance frames, there will be no difference doing a boot down Royale with a prime frame. The groove is deeper, so you will lock on more solid, and you'll have a little bit more wheel bite protection if you were skating flat, because this H-block also comes out and covers some of the wheel. But this distance is the same. So what that means is there will be no adjustment period. You'll be able to go out there and skate the prime frames just like you were skating the balance frames, but you're going to say, wow, these lock on so much better. You can see me during the live stream. They lock on so much better than the balance frames because they have a deeper groove. Same chamfer, same distance, same angles, but it's just a deeper groove, so it locks you on a little bit more solid. I hope that answered your question. Alex Paz, so stoked for this new release and can't wait to get them ordered in and start to get these frames suggested to be carried here in Kauai. We actually got married in Kauai, beautiful place. I love Hawaii. If we weren't in the East Coast, we would definitely be out in Hawaii almost every other year. It's just an amazing area, amazing people. Obviously the beaches are just crystal, like it's beautiful. We don't have any shops in Hawaii. I don't know if there are any. If you can recommend any, we would love to start talking with them. And I know that there are skaters out there, so I don't see why they wouldn't at least bring in a few sets of something. But yeah, definitely appreciate the support, and I hope to see some pictures of you out in Hawaii, or tag us on the Instagrams. Sam Dynamo, any potential for aggressive quad skating grind blocks? Interesting. I have never considered that. I have a few friends who skate quad. I don't skate quad, so I would say no, because I don't know what I would make. I only make products that I know that I can improve on a current product, and I don't know anything about quads. I know that there are, what was it, Toto and Out make quad products. They are rollerbladers that were quad skaters that are now more quad skaters, and they make some really killer products. I don't know much about it though, I'm sorry. But I don't think there's any potential for us to make quads. I think we're going to continue focusing on inline. Oh, Michaela, hey, can you show me the RL1 next to the Montre? Yes. Here is the Montre right foot, and here is the RL1 right foot. So I'll give you the tour. The tongue definitely is the biggest difference. It is probably, I would say, an inch taller. You can see the back is definitely a bit taller. The biggest change is in the materials that used. The RL1 is a really nice, dense material. This is pretty dense, but it feels like it doesn't have any bounce back. It's kind of the MyFit heat moldable sort of stuff. I don't know what else you need to see, but this definitely feels like a cheaper liner, but for a stock liner, it's an amazing liner. I still recommend this liner. I think, especially at the price, it's really hard to beat. But if you want to spend money, yeah, these RL1s are pretty nice. Those, uh-oh. Did it drop? Okay, looks like I'm back. Sorry about that. I don't know. It just dropped for a second. All right, I'm back. Judo asked, congrats on everything. Any feedback with the ride quality with the metal core? Curious about riding flat with core supported outer wheels with plastic wall supported inners. Yeah. So, yes, it is going to be a much more responsive ride than riding balance frames. And balance frames are some of the more responsive plastic frames out there. When you're skating anti-rocker, obviously the middle wheels aren't going to touch. So it's going to be the same great responsiveness that you would get from any other metal frame out there. If you were comparing these for responsiveness, to a Sola, to a Symmetrix, to a ground control, you're probably going to get a much more responsive flat ride with any of those. It's all aluminum. It makes sense, right? That's not what we're going for. I think that those frames are great for what they are. We're going after a more aggressive anti-rocker, grinding, ride flat but skate parks sort of vibe. You don't need that high level of responsiveness for what we're trying to do. If you do, there are great frames out there that already address that market. We want to go after more of a grinding market. So riding flat with this is going to be an amazingly responsive experience. You might get more responsiveness if you were skating an all aluminum frame. I don't know. I've never skated an all aluminum frame. I'm not one to say that I could tell the difference. But you will get a very nice responsive ride with the core system. If anything, you might get a little bit more cushion because of that plastic inner. So having the metal on the outside is going to be a very solid ride. Having the plastic on the inside might give you a little bit more cushion. So you might have the best of both worlds. You'll have the responsiveness since, when you're doing your strides and most of your carving, most of your weight is on your inside or your front or your rear wheel. So you'll get that carve around that push. But when you land, little bit of rocker, maybe the middle wheels touch first, you'll get a little bit more cushion than just a flat aluminum ride. I would be curious though, if you do plan on getting a set, what you think. I am not an aluminum frame skater, so I don't know what that feels like and what that level of responsiveness is. I would be very curious if people could tell the difference. I will say that skating core frames, you are going to want an internal shock absorber, some sort of an insole or something like that, and potentially slightly softer wheels. I ride 88A when I skate with core frames. They feel great. I think if you were riding 92s, 95s without a shock absorber, I think you're going to have a really rough time. If you were skating famous wheels, for example. I know a lot of people that love their famous wheels and they love that responsiveness. No difference with this. But if you're coming from a balance frame and you're expecting to ride the exact same setup in a balance frame as you did with the core system frame, you're going to have a much more solid ride, which might be good, but it might also be a little bit more shocky on your heels. You just need to compensate a little bit for that. In saying that, I haven't had any pain or any issues while skating them. I do skate 88A wheels though, so that might be helping a little bit. When I'm skating flat, I haven't skated these anti-rocker yet, but when I skate them flat, I am getting that bouncy feeling that I expect from an 88A wheel. It's a really good question. A lot of things that I wish that I had brought up, but I'm glad that you bring them up so that I can address them. Igor, what about bringing it to Brazil? I have seen your product in one of the South shops. This new frame is awesome. Thank you so much. I would love to bring it to Brazil. I speak with Fabiola every now and then. Fabiola and I are really old friends. She's amazing. I would love nothing more than to have more product, Fitty product, Compass product, Chroma product down in Brazil. I've had a difficult time getting distribution down there. We did work with a shop way back in the days when we restarted 50/50, and I want to say that the product got stopped at customs and it never made it to him. I don't know the story about that, but if you have any contacts in Brazil or if you have any shops in Brazil that would like to carry the product, I would love to talk with them. There's no reason we're not selling to Brazil. We just haven't been able to get it down there. Kevin Silva, my question is, when will you take my money? Great question. I don't know, to be completely honest. I know that they're in production right now. I know that the cores are done. So there's a lot of things that we asked them to tweak from this first sample. They said, okay, you get these new frames, you can test them and see what you think. The first thing that we wanted them to tweak is open up this so that we can get the friggin' frame spacers out. I don't know how they got these in, but you can't take them out. That's not ideal. So they're opening this up by like, you know, 1/10 of a millimeter so that they can get the frame spacers out. These are already done. So they are done. They are silver in production. Remember that the black is limited for the samples, but they are going to be silver in production. They are done and they are ready to ship. These walls, we had a bunch of little tweaks that needed to be done. Some of the tolerances for these axles needed to be cleaned up. They were a little bit bigger and the axle would rotate a little bit more than we were comfortable with. We made some cosmetic changes. We made a few little tweaks to some of the angles. As soon as this is done, they will send us pictures and say, hey, we're done. What do you think? As soon as they can confirm that everything looks good, we will start production of these walls. As soon as the walls are done, and they said that it should be done any day now. So that's why I'm doing this announcement now, because I know that it's going to be just around the corner. Just so happens the timing didn't happen. I might even have an email right now saying, hey, we're ready. Here's some pictures. I don't know yet. As soon as they start production on this, it's going to be over. The axles are already done. The bolts are already done. The cores are already done. As soon as these get into production, they'll be done, and then they'll be boxed up, and then they'll be coming over. As soon as they're coming over, that's when we'll start doing pre-orders. I am not one to take people's money before I know when I'm going to be able to give you the product. And until I have that schedule, I don't want to say, yeah, pre-orders are open. I will make sure that there is advance notice. I will make sure that we bring in a lot of these so that we will have them throughout the summer. But I won't take your money until I know that I can give you a product and when I can give you the product. So my hunch is that today is what, March 10th? My hunch is that production will be done and they will be shipping by the end of the month. That means that we'll probably do pre-orders first week of April, probably. And they'll probably be in stock first week of May. I think that makes sense from a shipment perspective, but anything is possible. Shipments can be a little weird. My goal is to have these available in shops first week of May. So that's when the money will be taken. If you want to do a pre-order with us, we will have some bundles so that you can get an extra set of walls for a great price. So you can get a set of whites and a set of blacks. Save a little bit of money. We'll have some t-shirts and stuff like that as well. But those will probably be first week of April. Frames probably first week of May. I hope. Corey. Hey, Corey. I saw your new video. I haven't seen it yet. If you aren't watching Corey English's channel, you should definitely check it out. He does great work. He comes out here. He's a good dude. Day job, kids, and multiple businesses. How do you still find time to completely revolutionize the industry? Bravo to you and the team. Can't wait to get my hands on a pair. Thank you so much. Means a lot. I wouldn't be able to do this without my family. Obviously, my wife is amazing. She helps me stay sane. She pushes me to do things. She gives me the freedom and figures out ways that we can juggle schedules so that I can do this sort of stuff. The team especially, I could not do this project without the team. I've had help from a lot of different people over the last 3 years. I want to name everybody, but specifically John Fromm was a huge proponent in the Prime wall. He had a lot of good feedback from skating the balance frames after skating a bunch of different frames in the past that he wanted seen reflected in this final design. So H-blocks, sidewalls, single part axles, he had a huge hand in that. So huge thank you to John for all of your help with this. He's been skating them for a bit. He actually got a pair with a 3D printed frames in November and was skating them. You guys didn't know that, but we had a set of white frames out there. He actually posted a few of them to Instagram. You guys just didn't check, didn't see. But he was skating them, providing feedback. He loves this new frame for fast slides, which is something that I can't do. But if John can do fast slides, because this H-block is flat now, I guess, I don't know. He's really good. And he loves them, and he was a huge help. So yeah, I just love this stuff. This is what I get excited about. You know, I love giving back to the community. I love investing in the community. I love rollerblading. Anything that I can do to help the sport grow, I am all in. Definitely, thank you, Corey. Hope you can come back again and visit, and keep the videos coming. They're really great. All right, I think we are almost done. Edward Hines, why didn't you mill the spacers? The frame spacers are the same that we have in the Compass frames. They're aluminum. They're great frame spacers. I don't need to overdo the frame spacers. They're just the frame spacers that we used for the Compass frames. It's a really great size, so they fit really well. Nothing special to report about the frame spacers, though. Jonathan Hayes, what color options are we looking at? So at launch, we're going to have black and white prime walls available. We will also have black and white freestyle walls available. These will be the 3D printed version. So you will be able to get white or black. For freestyle, you'll be able to get white or black for the prime walls. We will also do some fun colors. I've got some reds, I've got some blues, I've got some oranges. For Ben, we have some shiny gold frames. I don't know that we're going to ever actually sell these because they feel pretty brittle. The metallic filament is never quite right, but this is a medium. I think this is a medium. Oh, it's a large. Let me put these on real quick. Put these on for the thumbnail for y'all. So take off this wall. Oops, Axel. All right, so here comes the gold. Never going to hear the end of it. Look at that. Oh shit. Now that is some next level bling. I mean, you could skate them. I don't know how long they'll last, but I know the core will hold up. It's brilliant. Any color that you can imagine. We're going to try all the different filaments. Some filaments slide better than others. Some filaments last better than others. We don't want to sell you a filament that's not going to last very long, but 3D printing is, you can at least a few months out of a wall. They last a pretty long time. So we want to make sure that we have that level of quality, but fun colors. So anything that you can think of, we will definitely look into. I see Steve's question, and he didn't tag me, but yes, we upgraded the cameras and the lights. So I have a Sony, what is this, a ZV-1? And then I've got lights all up in the business, lights on the wall. I've been spending a lot of time and energy making sure that the video looks good, because when you zoom in, it looks nice and fresh now, usually. There we go. There we go. Ooh, look at that. That's a good look. All right, I think we are good. I want to thank you all so much for spending the time with me tonight. I had a blast sharing what I've been working on. I hope that you are excited. I hope that you will come out with some new designs. I would love to see what's in your head. There are so many different options out there for frame designs, and I feel like the limiting factor was always, well, you can't skate them. Now you can. Throw your 3D printed frame wall on the core system, go out there and have fun. Thanks as usual to the helmetinitiative.org for the helmet giveaway. I'll put the link back in the chat again. There we go. Put the link back in the chat again. If you need a helmet, seriously, it is very important that you skate with a helmet. Backtobling.com/helmet. leave that link up tonight. Fill out your information. We'll be giving away 2 helmets tonight. Thanks to the Helmet Initiative for the giveaway. Thank you to the Patreon for helping us with the shipping costs. I'm going to be skating this weekend. I'll be skating Core Frames. I'll be on these ones, the Prime Frames with Anti-Rocker. I'm going to skate Anti-Rocker this weekend with the Prime Frames. So I'm super excited about that. I'll probably put them on the Montres. It's going to be a fun ride. I've never skated them Anti-Rocker. You know, I've let John and Chad skate them Anti-Rocker, and they've had good feedback. So I said, you know what, I'll skate the flat and make sure that the flat works well. Tune in for that. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hope you're being safe out there. You know, we're almost at the end of this. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I think the rainbow ends at Woodward 2021. So we'll make sure that we can get out to, what year is it this year? I hope that everybody is being safe and nice and healthy so that we can go out there and have a really fun time. I think we deserve it. Hope you're doing good, and hope to see you in 2 weeks.